Hello there, my name's Joe and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to take a look at inpainting in ComfyUI. Now inpainting is a process of creating a mask on part of an image and then changing what has been masked into something else by use of a text prompt. So what we'll do is we'll create a very basic workflow for inpainting. We'll pull in an image that I've generated that could do with some repairs, and we'll see how that goes. And then what I think I'll do is I will, at the end of the demo, I'll generate a few extra images just to give you, or just to show you rather, some variety of the changes that we can make. So let's start off now by creating our workflow. Okay, so we're in ComfyUI. We have a clear workflow, and all we're going to do to start is I'm going to load the default workflow. So click on Load Default, click OK, and we get the default text to image workflow. What I think I'll just do very quickly is if I do a Control A, select all of them, and then hold down the Shift button. I just want to pull these over a bit just to give myself a bit more space. Okay, there we go. So this is the standard text to image workflow, and all we're going to do is, first of all, we don't need this empty latent image because we're going to be using image to image, so the latent will be taken from the donor image. So we can start off by getting rid of this one, so let's just delete that node. Okay, next all we need to do is add three more nodes. All these nodes are from the basic ComfyUI setup, so we don't need to install any other add-ons or anything like that. So all I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to double left click and add these nodes to our workflow. So first one, we need a load image. So I'm just going to type in image, get our load image. There we go. Next, we need a VAE encode. So type in VAE and select the VAE encode. And the last one, which you may not be so familiar with if you haven't used inpainting before, we need the set latent noise mask. So again, I'm just going to double click, and if I just type noise, and I'll come right to the top. So the set latent noise mask. And there we go. So all we need to do now is set the connections for these, and we're ready to go. So from the load image, I'm just going to connect to the pixels on the VAE encode. The mask will come across to the mask. We need the VAE, so we will come to the VAE from the load checkpoint, bring that down to there, and we're almost done, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, all I need to do now is add the latent to the latent image on the sampler. And I think, if I haven't made a mistake, we're ready to go. I'll just tidy this up a little bit. And I'm going to be using, for this demo, the DreamShaperXL model. And I think hopefully that will do. Right, so next thing I want to do is I want to add the picture that we're going to use for this demo. So I'm going to click on Choose File to Upload, and portraits. I've got a small range of photos here. These last six here, I think these are the ones I'm going to play around with, and I think we will start off with this image here because it is a bit nuts. So let's click on that. So this is the image that we are going to hopefully adjust using Inpainting, or masking as it's also called. Let's just open it up just to give you a better look. So this was something I was working on ages ago, and I was mixing a portrait with a Laura, possibly maybe the geisha Laura, which tends to add loads of fans and flowers and stuff. And for whatever reason it decided to stick this fan on this lady's shoulder, which obviously doesn't make much sense, but it is what it is. So let's see if, rather than lose the whole picture, let's see if we can use Inpainting to improve on this image. So let's go back to our workflow, and I'll just quickly go through the nodes just to see if there's anything else I need to explain to you as we're going along. So I've said I'm using the DreamShaperXL model. For the text, I've got a bit of a prompt in there on the negative text. I'm going to take that out. We'll add the text to change this thing down here in a moment. We'll try and come up with something that we can replace that with. And let's come across to the K sampler. Now for this, I'm just going to use my usual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just hate seeing these big numbers. I'm going to go fixed for now, and really the rest of the config should really be related to what your model usually requires. So with my DreamShaperXL, if I was to go to Civic AI now and have a look at the page for that, I'm pretty sure it would tell me that I need to be using, I don't know, steps somewhere around 8. So let's put that in. It's much lower numbers on the XL models, and I remember the CFG was very low and it recommended a CFG of 2. So we'll put in 2. The sampler I normally always use is DPM++, 2M SDE. I'm going to use the Keras scheduler, and the denoise, which does become important in this, I'm going to drop it down to about 0.7 to begin with. The lower the number, the less the AI can play with the original image. So if I left it at 1, it could do whatever the hell it liked. If I pull it down to 0, it couldn't make any changes at all. So I'm going to go 0.7, and we'll see how that works. We can always adjust this. So there we go. So now we're ready to create our mask. So all we need to do now is we come across to our image, and if we right click and look at the options we've got here, if we come down towards the bottom, we will find Open in Mask Editor. So we left click and select that. Now what is nice for a change is we now get something which is actually quite large, which most of the time I think in ComfyUI I'm struggling to read what I'm doing. So this is quite nice. So this is where we create our mask, and you can see here when I'm moving my cursor, we have, you can see the circle hopefully. We control the size of the circle through here. We have this thickness bar, and we can clear the results if we don't like what we've done. And all we need to do is paint in the mask that we want to work on. So it's a little bit big, but let's just bring it down a little bit. I'm going to mask now this crazy fan, shoulder fan. Maybe that's a thing now. I don't know. Could be. Could become a new fad. Shoulder fans in Topshop. You never know. Anyway, let's try and get this as accurate as I can, as quickly as I can. I know you don't want to sit there watching me mess about for too long. Okay, I'm just going to reduce that down a little bit, and we'll try. Okay, so roughly we've made a mask now of the fan. Once we've done that, we're going to click on the Save to Node button. So let's do that. We're back to the workflow, and we can see now, we can actually see the mask that we've generated. So all we need to do now, and this does become a bit of a mix in terms of success with what settings we have, how much freedom we've given to the denoise, how many steps we've given it. You may need to try this a few times to get a good result, but let's just give it a go. So in the positive box, I'm going to try and turn that fan into some kind of shoulder floral display thingy, whatever. So let's go for a satin and lace floral dress strap. I don't know what else to call it. Dress strap. Okay, so we've got our image. Let's just take a quick look. So actually, as a first pass, we haven't done too bad. Certainly much better than I thought we would get. We can see towards the bottom here there are some imperfections, but that's not really a bad example of inpainting. I don't know if you'll be able to notice it from your view here, but there's a slight line here which is part of the original, which is another imperfection. But hopefully you get the idea of what painting is and how we do it. To take it further, you might need to upscale or refine the image a bit further, which I'm not going to be looking at here today. But let's give this another go. Let's just take another image and do another masking and have a quick look at the results. So we'll come down to choose our file, and we've got, let's take this image here. Let's just a quick look at it. Again, this is from the same set. So this is some kind of fan that the Laura produced. It's quite bizarre. I don't know really what I want to do with that. So I'm going to, rather than mess about with this thing, which might be actually quite difficult to change with Inpainting because of the sheer shape of it. What would you turn it into? I don't know. So I'm going to take the easy option, and I'm going to work on her clothing. And let's see if we can turn it into I don't know, a suit of armor or something. Let's so we go through the same process again. So we're going to right click on the image. We're going to come down and click on Open in Mask Editor. We've now got our image. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you hold down, while you've got the mask editor open, if you hold down the control key, I believe, and then use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in and out, so that's quite nice. And also while you're holding down the control, you can move the image around a bit. You can move it around as well, so that can be quite handy. So let's, oops, sorry, I just got a bit carried away there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, or try to do, is let's see if we can give this young lady a suit of armor. So maybe a little bit bigger. Don't want to be here all day. Let's just start painting in. She seems to have sort of like metal cuffs there. Do I want to keep those in? Let's try and keep those and see what happens. It is quite strange that although I'm doing this here on my own, I feel like I'm being watched because I know I'm being recorded for a YouTube, so it's quite odd. So feel a bit uncomfortable doing this at the moment, but never mind. We'll get on with it. It's just a bit smaller now. Just quite quickly try and finish this off. Maybe a bit down the bottom there. And I'm just going to do a little bit at the top there just to finish off, and we'll give it a go. So if I was just working on my own, I think I would just maybe put a bit more time into this, but let's see how this does. So as before, we've created the mask, or I've created the mask, and so I now select Save to Node. We can see now my mask, and it'll also show if I've missed any little bits, and I can see a couple of little spots here and there, but I'm not going to bother about that now. And so we come back up. All we need to do now is come back up to our prompt, and what do we say we're going to do? A suit of armor. So let's say a highly detailed golden suit of armor. And the spell checker is telling me I spell armor incorrectly, but I haven't. The spell checker is incorrect for England anyway. So let's give that a go and see how we get on. I'm going to leave the denoise at 0.7. As I mentioned, if I'll do a couple of images at the end, and what I'll be playing with there is I will be changing the denoise a bit, and maybe the steps a bit to try and get a bit of variation, and I'll be probably increasing seed numbers and stuff like that, just to get sort of a bit of variety. But let's give this a go now and see whether or not this has worked first time. Again, I wouldn't really expect it to work first time, but I was lucky last time, so you never know. So let's take a look at the image. So not bad. Again, some small imperfections along here we can see, but actually not a bad job. Now there'll be nothing to stop us if we wanted to. Let's just give it an image. Now if we wanted to, we think, oh yeah, this is quite nice, but we've still got this ridiculous fan thing here. We could now pull this image down here, load that up, and create a new mask and turn this into, or attempt to turn it into something like a battle axe or something. I'm not going to go through that. We've done it twice now, so hopefully you get the idea. But that in its very basic form is Inpainting. What I would suggest you do, if you are new to this, and I'm certainly new to this, I've only done this a few times, is once you've grasped this and given it a go and whatever, go back to YouTube and have a look do a search on ComfyUI Inpainting, and there are many much better videos on Inpainting within ComfyUI than this. But this is just showing you the very basic structure of Inpainting. But the other videos that are out there show how you can bring Inpainting into much more complex workflows, and perhaps take it further levels so you can improve on the images with upscaling and making embellishments to them that clearly we can't do from this very, very basic workflow here. So anyway, so I'm not going to put a copy of this workflow on my Dropbox we've seen how to build it. We just did a load default and we just added these 3 extra nodes, and we got rid of the empty latent image node. So if you were going to have a go at this, there would be no reason why you wouldn't just do the same, I'm sure. So I think that's about as much as I can show you on this. So as I say, I'll generate a few extra images now of this little sequence of 4 or 5 pictures of this young lady that I took, and make different changes to different things. I'll just add a very short slideshow at the end. So other than that, I'll just say, so thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. I hope you've found some of this useful, and have a good day, and goodbye.